welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Of course, it is Tobago Thursdays, and we just learned so much from our last conversation. And there's a lot more coming up on the show that you are going to be able to learn from this morning on Now. Very excited for our next guest who's going to be coming up. And looking forward to the discussions. And trust me, you're going to like this too, especially if you're into fashion and entertainment in particular. Ruckus.
Me?
I mean, no, I mean.
You think I'm into fashion?
No, I mean, yes, you're into fashion.
Am I?
I guess. I don't know.
All right, I'll take
Men
it.
are into fashion. Well, our next guest is definitely going to be into fashion as well. But what I wanted to ask you was, what did you think about the last conversation?
I mean, upcycling is always to be encouraged as far as I'm concerned. I like projects where I can take things that would have been discarded and use them for something different. And you know, I mean, for me, that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to have less waste, as least waste as possible, so that you want to be able to say, all right, yeah, I could put them in my plastics, and I can do that recycling bit, drop it off by the IK bins or whatever the case is. But the other things that you might throw away, like you might be able to compost some things, you might be able to take I don't know, something and turn it into something else, you know?
Yeah. And I like that he was getting the point across in terms of there's something tangible that you have at the end that you can look for. So good convo.
Wonderful conversation. And it's time to talk about another wonderful conversation, or have one rather, as we're going to be talking about chosen B2B signature shoes. Brent Bristol joins us this morning. He is an artiste, shoe designer, and I dare say so much more. Good morning, Brent, and welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning to everybody. Good morning, TTT. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago, and the wider world of listeners.
It's wonderful to have you with us on the Now Morning Show this morning to talk about, let's say, something else, another notch that you are adding to your belt as an entrepreneur and an artist as well. But before we get into that, I want to ask you something. What does Up Like Mars mean? Because one of the things that we've noticed looking at your brand is we see that hashtag pretty much everywhere.
Oh yeah, Up Like Over Mars has been around since since B2B has been around, because I started off my musical career as B2B, but with some differences with a DJ named B2B, I just changed it to Chosen B2B. The whole Chosen issue came about with my son's name being Chosen. So yeah, Chosen B2B came about, and then Up Like Over Mars was always there because I always had this passion for Mars. I always felt like, you know, Mars was part of me, basically. So that's where the symbol came around, Up Like Over Mars, because I'm like, okay, one day I'm gonna be on Mars. And then when I started meditation and I started learning about meditation and traveling and how the body experiences and stuff like that, well, there came Up Like Over Mars, and you know, it just stayed with me from then till now.
Wonderful to see that you have that personal touch within your brand as well. Now let's get into the discussion about this latest collaboration that you have. How did this come about?
Well, the shoe designing has always been part of, I would say, our nation, because everybody in Trinidad and Tobago has a passion to do something, whether it be designing, whether it be farming, whether it be transportation, whatever speculation you provide to the nation is always wonderful. So we are all designers, I would say, but my designing lane started off in the military, because I was in the U.S. military, precisely 82nd Airborne, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, for 4 to 5 years, basically. I'll say 5 years, a couple weeks shy of that. But while in the military, I was always singing, writing music from the age 13. So being in the military and being part of my MOS was 92 Yankee Unit Supply Specialist. So being a unit supply specialist, I had a part to play in everything. So it just came hand in hand, being in the military and getting creative, basically. And from there, I just started traveling more, going to Italy, going to England, going to South America, traveling the world more, and starting to understand myself more and start putting it together.
And
then
how
we
did
got
you
that
start?
brand. And then
And how
when
did
I
you
looked
start
at
working
the
with
final
Alive Shoes?
line- Sorry.
No, sorry. Apologies for cutting you off. I just wanted to find out, how did you start working with Alive Shoes in particular?
Oh, I started working with the Live Shoes in particular. I met them online on Instagram. They have reached out to me. It was like, oh, like your style, da da da. You know, that type of way, how they reach out to you on social media, and then one thing to the next. And then we signed the contract. Inked the deal like 2 years ago. I started designing shoes, designing slippers, and pushing it out, doing the work. Fell back off of the music. I used to release much more music, but I'm releasing less music right now and put in more work into the brand to get the brand up and out there, because we already got a lot of artists pushing the work and pushing the forefront for the soca genre, for the sokaiso genre, for Trinidad and Tobago, even the Trinidad, you know what I'm saying, is putting us on the map. So if I could come now and add to the pot by bringing the style, if I may,
Of
bringing
course.
the styles. I just seen y'all show it, but I gotta have my own brand. You gotta support yourself.
Definitely.
You gotta be your own support. You gotta be your biggest support. Sorry, not your own support, but your biggest support. You also have the all blacks, back to school for kids and stuff like that. So it's just work in process. It's just me trying to put Trinidad and Tobago on where I came from. I came from the slump, if I may. I came from Demerara Road, where they think nothing can happen. I went to Arima Senior Comprehensive, and then I went spent some time at Arima Senior Comprehensive, and then I went to Mount Hope Junior Secondary. So they think like, oh, it doesn't happen from there. But I'm here this morning as living proof to say to the nation, to say to all of those who think that, hey, I ain't gonna make it, I can't never make it, that, hey, you can make it. I did. I used to pick up bottles and old batteries in La Hocketa Arima, where I grew up.
Yeah. That's an incredible,
And think to
inspirational.
myself, it could never happen, but here I am today.
Wonderful. That is such an
So-
inspirational story, and it's very important that our youths in particular are able to see themselves out there doing the most and being successful, which you have definitely brought to us this morning. And from the conversation, I know you're going to be bringing to the shores of Trinidad and Tobago as well. Now, you just showed us some of your incredible shoes, and really looking forward again to being able to see these in person. Tell us a little bit about how we can order these, though.
You can order those chosen B2B signature.shoes. It's that simple. I got my own basically fancy line from the foot company out there, the shoe company out there in Italy. They gave me that specific site so you could go order. It's like 10 pairs up there, but really, in all actuality, I have like 20 pairs or 21
Right.
pairs of shoes out there, slippers. So yeah, chosen B2B.signature.shoes, or you could check chosen B2B on any platform, on basically every platform. Instagram, I have them advertised, and at the bottom you could check in the caption and get the site directly to the link on chosen B2B on Instagram.
Wonderful. I realized, because we were taking a look at the site earlier, and some of the shoes that you just showed us on screen, we were like, wait, these weren't on the site. So definitely, of course, following you on Instagram. For those of you who are just joining us, we are talking to Brent Bristol, who is an artist and a shoe designer. And I definitely would say on his way, if you're not already, to being a motivational life coach, an inspirational speaker for many who need that push, which is so necessary. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us this morning. Tell us, Brent, what is in the future for B2B and for you, Brent Bristol?
Well, I would say in the future for Brent Bristol is work. I'm watching My Nation right now, and I want to cry on national TV, but I'm gonna hold that in, because it's so much murder, and I don't know Trinidad and Tobago to be like this.
Yeah.
But when I sit and I think to myself, okay, what's causing it? What's the problem? All I can see is money. And the thing that hurts the most is with knowledge make it man, just like it make it woman. Because that's all we are. We are men and women first before any corporation or whatever. So to know and to see what real life really is, and to see how My Nation is going, where it's blood every day. A day can't pass no more in Trinidad and Tobago without somebody being murdered, without somebody dying, without somebody having to feel sad over their brother or their sister, their mother, their aunt, no matter what the cause. We don't care about the cause. We don't care what was causing it. All we care about is that life being lost. So for Brent Bristol going forward, I'm working on that. That's my main thing. I'm applying my commercial law, because I study commercial law nonstop, because I don't like how My Nation is going. That's why I study so hard. So aside from the shoes, for Brent Bristol, is changing Trinidad and Tobago. However I gotta do, if I gotta give me to do it. Along with that, I don't like, if I may, I know it's not suitable for certain times and time and place, everything, but if you ask the question, I'm giving my honest answer. If I may, as I said again, the pensioners, I don't like how they're being treated. So that's the main thing immediately for Brent Bristol to address, even if we got to take it however steps we got to take it. I don't like how pensioners are being treated. I don't like how the protection services towards our pensioners is. Like, I'm watching so much pensioners being robbed of their little pension house. How you expect them to survive? You know, so the pension issue, the issue with youth, and the issue with murder in Trinidad and Tobago is all what Brent Bristol Life stands for at this point in time.
Thank you so much for thank you so much for sharing that, Brent. And you mentioned 3 critical issues that definitely need to be addressed, and looking forward to seeing you also being a part of that process and implementing change in Trinidad and Tobago. Brent, we have run out of time. Thank you so much for being with us on the Now Morning Show. You have been an inspiration to many, not just here in Sweet TNT, but throughout the world with this conversation. Looking forward to seeing you rise, and looking forward to seeing you right here in Sweet TNT soon.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
That's Brent Bristol, artist and shoe designer, sharing his vision, his mission, and his incredible work with us on Now. Stay tuned. There's more coming up, and there just might be a little dancing.